Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. Every major platform, including iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, Audible, Amazon Music, and more. And of course, on my YouTube channel. If you free subscribe, you can actually get an alert every 8 a.m. in the morning because, yes, I am now your morning show host instead of your once a week drive time host. And I am delighted that you are here with me every morning so that I can splatter a little more hope and happiness on you because life is too short to be angry, resentful, mean-spirited, frustrated, aggravated, irritated. Need I go on? And if you are just tuning into whatever is around you in social media or on the news and TV, radio, most of that is bad news. Most of that is negativity. And so I wanted a platform to talk about what's right with the world, what's right with you, what's right with me, and some solutions on how to feel happy 88% of the time, because I am on a mission, Happy 88 mission, 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. So thank you for being part of that. And today is a special day, as every day is. It is September the 23rd, and let's see what is special about September the 23rd. It is the Great National American Pot Pie Day. See, focusing on the little things that make you smile. I know I like a great pot pie. It's also National Snack Stick Day. I'm going to have to look that up. I have no idea what that is. National Teal Talk Day, National Restless Legs Awareness Day. My bonus mom has that syndrome, and it's not pleasant, and it is somewhat painful. So a breath of healing and comfort to anyone who has that. Also, it is National Checkers. I had to look at this and made a funny, if you're watching, you'll see my expression. It was National Checkers / Dogs in Politics Day. Now, I don't know how that, if I click on it, I wonder, nope, doesn't click anywhere. So I'll have to go look at that further and can get back to you. And then it is National Bisexuality Day. If you're anything like me, I'm from that generation, even though I'm ageless, where we went from, what was considered quote unquote normal. And thanks to my daughters, they have expanded my awareness and understanding that differences are to be embraced even when we don't understand them or not necessarily agree with them. Because I am all about valuing diversity across all differences. And if you watched my new short film, The New PPP, Post-Pandemic Possibilities, there's a section in there where I specifically address valuing differences even if we don't necessarily agree or understand them, because that's how we're going to get to world peace. Yes? Yes. And when we come back, I am delighted to have several really great interviews. Those of you who follow me in social media, Doc Balance on Instagram, Dr. Marissa everywhere else, know that I was on stage at the Secret Knock Yahoo Finance #1 must attend event for 2022 and of course 2021. So I not only get to cover the red carpet, I also get to speak there. And this time I was up there interviewing Dave Corbin, who is the founder of Secret Knock, Greg read his mentor. So I'll be playing highlights from the Secret Knot Conference, as well as some more in-depth interviews with some of my favorite speakers that were up there. And today I got a little sound bite with Isaac Singleton Jr. You will recognize him from Pirates of the Caribbean, and he's also the voice of Thanos. So I got a little soundbite with him, as well as a longer interview with someone that you know. If I say to you, show me the money and you complete me. That's a dun, 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 dun. Trivia. From what movie is that? And if you said Jerry McGuire, you are absolutely right. And I'm delighted to interview the actual real Jerry McGuire, who is Lee Steinberg, who is an American sports agent, philanthropist, and author. During his 41-year career, Steinberg has represented over 300 professional athletes in football, baseball, basketball, boxing, and Olympic sports. He has represented the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft a record 8 times. And then in the second half of the show, bringing you a little soundbite from an actor you will recognize from Pirates of the Caribbean, and that is Isaac Singleton Jr. And then the main interview with Ben Ward, who is another interesting person that I met at Secret Knock, who is a passionate leader with over 20 years of experience in sales, leadership, and executive leadership training and development. So he's going to give you a whole bunch of great information about sales and how it's not a dirty word. All that today. So keep it tuned here to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News radio station, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm delighted to bring you Lee Steinberg, also known as the real Jerry McGuire. Here he is on stage, and then following that, a personal interview with Dr. Marissa. Enjoy.
Based on Lee Steinberg's life, what was that like?
Well, the film director.
Hey, everybody! Show me the money, baby! Round of applause, Jerry McGuire, everybody! Show me the money! Show me the money! Show me the money! Look like Jerry McGuire. Put your hands together for our guy. You not look like him or what? Phenomenal.
So I haven't been able to walk through an airport or go out to dinner for the last 25 years without someone running up to the table and either saying to me or asking me to say those 4 iconic words that start with "show me the." Cameron Crowe was a film director, and I'd seen a movie he went underground for in a Southern California high school called Fast Times at Ridgemont High. And I thought it was funny, and he asked if he could follow me around and pick up atmosphere for a film that would have as a central character a sports agent. So he shadowed me for the next year and a half. And if I went to the NFL draft, he came with me where I had the first pick. if there was pro scouting day at USC, he came with me. He came to games, he came to the league meetings. And there was a time I was showing off a big safety in free agency and introducing him to teams. So Cameron was part of that journey, and they went upstairs one day, Tim McDonald and Cameron asked him what he was experiencing, what he was looking for in this process. And Luke Dobbs and CNN's Money Line was on the television. So Tim gestured towards the screen and said, I'm looking for someone to show me some respect. I'm looking for a team to show me some winning. I'm looking for a team to show me the money. And that's where that line came from. And so I told them stories, lots and lots of stories, and they found their way up on the screen. And I actually had to show the quarterback in the film, played by Jerry O'Connell, how to throw a spiral, because he had gone to NYU and they didn't have a football program there. So, and then I took a young actor named Cuba Gooding Jr. with me down to the Super Bowl and made him pretend he was a wide receiver all week. And then, you know, I played a cameo role, not to quit my day job, right? I played a cameo role in it, and I went on after that and did the same thing for a film called Any Given Sunday. And there was a quarterback in that film who was going to be played by the rapper P. Diddy. So Oliver Stone asked me to go out on the field and give him my feedback on how this guy threw. And I said, well, honestly, Oliver, there was Powerpuff football at Berkeley where I went to school, and the quarterback had a better arm. And so he said, well, we can train him. Forget about it. So they fired him and gave a young comedic actor his first dramatic role, and that was Jamie Foxx. So I worked with Jamie Foxx and spent some nights with Al Pacino, and my job is to put them into role so they understand what the pressures would be upon them and what their mindset might want to be. And then I did a film called For the Love of the Game, which was a baseball film. So I was technical advisor, so my job was to vet the script to make sure the willing suspension of disbelief that holds you in a picture. So you don't think the dialogue's phony, you don't think that the look is wrong. I had to make sure that was pristine in those films so you stayed in the plot.
Now, looking forward, what are you working on? I mean, every time I open an Instagram, you're flying all around the country, you're doing more events than ever, your focus on charitable events is greater than you probably ever expected. What is it that you want for your future?
Again, to try to make a difference in the world and bring health and healing. So the dynamic thing about using athletes as role models is they can trigger imitative behavior. So I had the heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis cut a public service announcement that said, real men don't hit women.
Nice.
And that could do more to trigger behavioral change in rebellious adolescents than 1,000 authority figures ever could. Those young people tune out authority figures, but through the imprimatur of the athlete, they can relate to the concept. So we can target sex trafficking and racism and the environment and any kind of problem, bring consciousness to it. So on the environment, I set up something called the Sporting Green Alliance. And we took sustainable technology in wind, solar, recycling, resurfacing, and water to stadia, arena, and practice fields, which is a lot of real estate. And the goal was to drop carbon emissions and energy costs and transform those venues into teaching platforms so me and fans could see a wireless urinal and a solar panel and think about how they integrate those concepts into their own homes and businesses. And We created Saturday morning cartoon shows with sports superheroes fighting for the environment and comic books. Being frustrated because I couldn't do everything. So I had a dad who raised me, and he would say, look, if there's a problem in the world, as minor as picking up this piece of paper off the trash, or as major as rolling back climate change, and you would wait till they or them would solve the problem, right? Someone's going to do that. Older people, political figures, he would say, you could wait forever, son. The they is you. You are the they. So it's an empowerment where you understand that all of us in our own way, in our own time, whether it's raising children well, whether it's making fundamental changes, but it's all of our responsibility. And I felt that very heavily and felt the weight of the world because I knew by being a little more creative, we could solve those problems.
That's powerful, yeah.
Good morning, this is Dr. Marissa, you know me as the Asian Oprah, reporting live here at Secret Knock in San Diego or somewhere around there. And I have someone who I met a while ago, and we've been missing each other. I've been trying to interview him, and I caught him finally. You'll know him as Jerry McGuire. He's the real Jerry McGuire, but more than that, he's someone who's taking his limelight and using it to help people, which is, you know, my favorite kind of person. So could you please introduce yourself and tell me why you're here?
Well, Greg Reed asked me to come. My name's Lee Steinberg, and speak to the group. So I'd had a good experience with him before in a San Diego event. Met some interesting people, so I was happy to come.
Yes, and I remember meeting you there, and I was so impressed because this is a little personal. You were getting sober at the time, and I'm also sober, and so how's that going?
It's 11 and a half years today.
Woohoo! You're right behind me. I'm 12 and a half.
So you're not old, but you're an old timer.
Not really.
Yes, we call them old timers.
Yes.
So congratulations to you on your sobriety.
Absolutely, and congratulations to you. And how has that helped you? How has that changed you and what you're doing?
Well, there was a point at which my only coherent thought was where to find more vodka. So obviously, sobriety's allowed me to come back into the world, be a better father, be better in relationships, and start a business that is the representation of athletes who are role models, and none of that would have been possible otherwise.
Yeah. I was really fascinated by two things you said on stage. One was how you were raised by your father who said you were going to be the president, and then two, please tell me about the whole Warren Moon story.
So, I was raised by a father who had two core values. One was treasure relationships, especially family, and the second was try to make a difference in the world and help people who couldn't help themselves. So I was hardwired to try to make a change, and Warren Moon was a quarterback who faced racial stereotyping as he entered the world of football. So he had to play in Canada for 6 years and then came back and played 17 here and had me induct him into the Hall of Fame in Canton. So it was a real story of perseverance and having a vision of something in the future and aspiring to get there.
Yeah, I was especially marked by your words that there was this perception early on that a thinking position in football could not be held by an African American, which is, as you said, like unheard of now. But you validated that kind of prejudice existed in the NFL.
Well, it did, and so the question was how to break that glass barrier. And now, the last two couple MVPs have been African American quarterbacks prior to this last year, and now you wouldn't think anything of it. And the highest paid, like the three highest paid players in football are African American quarterbacks.
What's the one thing that gets in the way that you see of every child who is growing up and wants to be a pro football player? Like that's, what do you want to be, a rock star and a pro football player? What's your message to them?
Is that a very few people ever make it to that point. So that what's really key is to hone your non-athletic skills and to think about what kind of passion you have for something else in the world and what a career arc might be that would allow you to make a difference.
Last question. You had everything, fame, fortune, show me the money, and yet all you wanted was vodka. Can you help those out there who are feeling that same way? What is that thought?
So if you're struggling and confused because of problems brought about by addictive substances, don't lose hope, because there are 12-step programs with unique fellowships that can help you come back to life. And so you don't have to do it alone. There are all sorts of people who will help you. And don't lose hope. Just all you have to do is reach out for help.
Thank you so much. I love the work that you're doing. I hope to see you. I hope to get an invitation to the Super Bowl party. But if you could look in the camera, this is what I do at the, last question. Last question. What are you most grateful for? I usually do this on the show, but since we're doing a remote, what are you most grateful for?
Living in a country with a high standard of living where there's freedom and democracy. It was just an accident of birth that I was born here, but against the backdrop of, I think it's a very special country. I'm not a starving peasant in Darfur. Didn't have the last name Steinberg in Nazi Germany. So it's really, I was given blessings just by birth that I didn't earn.
And I hear the gratitude and appreciation. Much success, continued success to you. If you could look in the camera, I do this because it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. Can you do peace out? World peace through inner peace.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wasn't that awesome? We hit it off the first time we met, and I'm so glad I caught up with him to get that interview. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And when we come back for the second half of the show, I have a soundbite with Isaac Singleton Jr. He's a little taller than me. I had a good time with him, just with a little soundbite when I met him. He actually was a guest there at Secret Knock. And then a longer interview is Ben Ward, someone who's going to really help us take the stigma and the stink out of the word sales and understand that it is an important part, especially after the pandemic, because all of us have to sell ourselves. When we come back on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned into Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm delighted to bring you, I have a soundbite with Isaac Singleton Jr., and then a longer interview with Ben Ward, who's going to really help us take the stigma and the stink out of the word sales. Enjoy.
Good morning, this is Dr. Marissa. You know me as the Asian Oprah. I'm here at Secret Knox, and I have someone very familiar to you. I just looked him up. He has 184 film credits. Could you please introduce yourself and tell me why you're here?
Hello, my name is Isaac C. Singleton Jr., and I'm here because I like to go out and meet people and I like to learn. That's exactly why I'm here.
And what are your top most memorable movies or film shows that you've done?
I would say most people remember me from Pirates of the Caribbean, but Anger Management's one. Deadpool, many things. But I remember one of the ones I remember most was I had fun on was called Arliss. I got to make up my own dialogue in that one, so it was a lot of fun.
And you're Thanos right now.
I do the voice of Thanos for all of Marvel's cartoons and video games. Yeah, I'm very thankful for that.
I'm thankful for that. That's why I looked you up and I went, oh my God, my daughter's going to want me to interview you.
Okay.
So, did you always know that you wanted to be an actor?
No, I did not. I thought I was going to become a commodities broker. That was my goal since I was in 8th grade. When I was in sophomore in college, God said, you'll still be an actor. I said, okay, God, I'll listen to you. Changed my major, transferred universities, and that's what I've been going after ever since.
Any advice to kids that want to be an actor?
Yeah, I have some advice. Number one, study acting, because you just can't wing it. And then also have a strong mindset to persevere at what you want to do, because it's not just going to be given to you.
So people who feel like they're being discriminated against, what do you say to them to get over any fear or victimhood?
All of it, when it comes to that, it's all about your mindset. It's almost like back when you were a kid and people said sticks and stones won't break my bones or whatever. You just got to have a mindset where you're like, no matter what anybody says about what your goals are, you just keep going for them and don't listen to them, because if you let them bog you down, then you're living their dream or non-dream instead of your own.
So I ask all my guests on my show, I have a show called Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It,
Okay.
Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa. And the last question I always ask is, to who or what are you most grateful to?
I'm grateful mostly to my parents for raising me to be the kind of man that I became.
Beautiful, I love it. And this is my thing too, peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Do you mind doing that with me?
I do mind doing that.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I'm just kidding.
All right. I really can't get into a fight with you because you're like a little bigger than me.
Just a little.
Peace in.
Peace. So peace in.
Peace in.
Peace out.
World peace.
And then right here.
Through inner peace.
Through inner peace. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much for
You're
taking
welcome.
the time.
Thank you.
I don't know if I'm not that tall. Bye. Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day, and nice to meet you.
I'd love to have you come to the studio if you're ever interested.
All right.
I'll give you my number.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live. You know me as the Asian Oprah. I am on location at Secret Knock, and my mission is to scout for interesting people with really great ideas that we can implement on how we can be happy 88% of the time. So I bumped into this guy who is in sales, and before you go, sales, that's exactly why he's here talking, because there's nothing wrong with selling. And if you are one of the people who during COVID have had to look at other options, and or you know that you are your number one salesperson, you got to listen up. This is going to be a great interview. So I have a friend. She doesn't have an answering machine. She has a questioning machine. And when you call her, she says, who are you and what do you want? So who are you and what do you want?
Thank you. My name is Ben Ward, and I'm the founder of Forward Leadership, and we focus working with sales leaders to help them just really draw out the very best within the people they lead. And, you know, sales oftentimes has a bad reputation.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Used car salesman, all of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's a reason for that. And there's also really a professional salesperson, somebody who's really professional, just completely obliterates that stigma. And so for me, you know, what I want, so as far as like who am I and what do I want?
Yeah.
You know, I want, and my passion is working with sales leaders to help them drive results with their teams in a way that really honors people. And
I'll hold this for you.
Thank you so much. And so really, I've been in sales for 20 years, led sales teams all over America, and I started Forward Leadership really because out of a passion and a commitment to help sales leaders navigate the forest. It's almost like I'm the safari guide who's, you know, I've been there, you know, I've been in the trenches and leading teams, and I've seen how it's done the wrong way, and I've also seen how it's done the right way. And I'm like this safari guide who's been there, and I've come back for you.
So tell me the wrong way for sales.
You know what? The wrong way is when we get commission breath. You know what I mean? Like, how does commission breath play out for you?
Well, it's used car salesman, and then that's why I have an allergy to multi-level marketing. You just say that word, and I'm out of here.
Yeah. And so really for me, my deep passion for working with sales leaders comes from just the starting with the foundation of where does sales actually come from? What does it even mean? And the word sales comes from an Old English word called Selan. And Selan.
Okay, spell that.
Okay, Sellan.
Okay.
And Selan, at its core, it's an Old English word that means to give.
Wow, that was a paradigm shift right there. To give. Selling is to give, not to force.
You couldn't have said it better, because here's the thing, the absolute key for professional sales. Now there's sloppy sales and like sales where you're just running over people, and that's what gives sales a very bad reputation. But the key is the focus of the give. When we focus, if the give is focused on ourselves, that's what gives sales a bad reputation. It makes you feel slimy yourself, and it leaves everybody in your wake feeling like, get that person out of my way.
Right. Because that's where that pushing things, that the perception that salespeople force you to buy things that you don't need, or push you to do something like when they say today only, drives me crazy. Any other time, it's not going to be this deal. You have to do it now. And even, I've worked with consultants where they want to help me with my business, and they tell me, offer a 3-level selling, and they're going to pick the second one, or you got to do this. And it just makes me feel like crap. I don't want to force someone to get something that they either can't afford or are not ready for.
Yeah, the worst thing we could do is push people or manipulate them or ask questions that lead them into a dead end. Yeah. And that's what makes people uncomfortable. And so the key is to focus on the give, shifting the focus away from yourself and that commission breath of like, this is what I want.
Yeah.
And shifting the key to Selan, the key to give, Selan, is the focus of that give. And as we shift our focus away from ourselves and to that person, and helping give them what they need, what they want. And if we can't solve a real need, we should not try to push and force the situation.
Oh, I wish that every salesperson, especially the ones that call me with blind marketing on the phone, but this is a huge shift though, because traditionally sales is seen as something pushy, and I heard someone else say this that aligns with exactly what you're saying, which is 2 things. It's not selling, it's sharing. That was one thing. I love that. And 2 is instead of selling, can you help someone meet their need? If they have something that they need, can you frame or design your product or service to meet that need? So that is a tremendously helpful shift away from the slime of selling.
Absolutely. And the fly-by-nights will oftentimes go to the slime because they don't care about long-term relationship. And so the key, it's so important to be a professional. If you want to be a professional salesperson, it's about that long-term relationship. Now, serving them immediately if you have something that can help them. And really, the best salespeople are those that have a product that they actually really believe in, and then finding somebody that has that need and being persistent enough to listen to what their real needs are. Yeah, to actually really listen, not persistent to push my agenda. It's persistent to really identify how we can help them. And then once we've identified that, we care enough about them to be bold with them, and also to be persistent to share with them, like, this is the key is clarity of communication. And as long as we give them the very best chance to understand what we have, give them that best chance, communicate effectively and clearly, giving them a chance to be like, oh, I see what it is, and let them make that decision. I earned my first $1 million. I share this humbly, but I say it boldly. I earned my first $1 million in sales commission when I was 26 years old.
Wow.
I'm 41 now, but I learned these keys, and there's seven key words that is at the foundation of Salam.
All right.
Which is,
you ready? Listen.
Write this down. In fact, write this on your notebook and put this in front of you. Keep this in front of you. Record these 7 words. They're words you know. You already know these. I'm not going to share anything that's going to blow your mind of like, oh, but simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And so, in fact, write these words on your bathroom mirror in lipstick, because it's not about you, it's about them. Those 7 words are
Drop the mic.
Those are the key words to Salam, which is the actual root, the true meaning of sales. And so it's not about you, it's about them.
Brilliant. And I'm not just saying that because it aligns with something that you triggered in my thought. It's brilliant because you touched on the truth that everyone has something to offer to meet the need of someone else. I think those are another, how many words those are? That would be your set, right? Yeah, because one of the reasons why we have so much problem, I believe, with sales is we think that we live in a limited universe. And so if you get something, I don't. And if I get something, you don't. I
love that.
And that dog eat dog and rat race and climb. I just finished a short film called The New PPP. Sorry, shameless plug. The New Post-Pandemic Possibilities. I'd love to give you a copy because it talks about what if we could realize a world where every one of the 7.3 billion of us had a unique talent, gift, and ability to share, and there's a need, there's a need and a fill-in match all over the world. That anything that you are passionate about and that you know that is something your passion and what you know about sales is very helpful to people who make a living in sales and are so dejected and disillusioned about sales, so you can help them see sales for what it is. And that's your talent. You as you can tell, he's extremely personable, has none of that sliminess that people associate with sales, and just explain to you and I why sales is important. It's not something bad. I do a workshop, be the best that you can be, and broadcast it because you have to sell. And in COVID, a lot of us are out of our normal jobs and have to go looking at selling ourselves. So give us some words on that.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that really stuck out to me from that is a challenge to you, my friend. If you're selling something that you don't believe in, stop it. And so I say that with all respect. And so I found myself selling a product years ago that I didn't believe in, and it was hard. It felt slimy. It felt and so the day I'll never forget, the day that I just said nope, no longer, was one of the most powerful days. And so I just lost my train of thought.
That's okay. That's okay. We can edit that. We can.
That's
edit.
awesome.
We can edit. But so on that vein, I just had this idea. If you're in sales and you don't like, and you just heard him say stop it, and you don't want to go back, there are so many good things to sell right now.
There's so many things you can sell that are helpful to people.
So many things. So find out, what are you passionate about? Is it diet? Is it exercise equipment? Is it technology? What is it that you really love that you're interested in? They need salespeople for that.
And that's the key, is that, you know what, like you have a responsibility as a salesperson to get behind what it is you have. And then once you're behind it and you're like, you know what, this is something that I believe in, you have a responsibility to share it with other people.
That's right.
And if you don't, you're doing them a disservice, and having that mentality will help you to help more people. And that'll end up coming back to you as well.
Yeah. And if you've just tuned in and you're wondering who I'm talking to that is quite passionate about selling, I am speaking to Ben
Ward.
Ben Ward. And how do we find you, Ben Ward?
Yes, benward.com.
Ben, well, that's easy. And you have programs there for?
Yeah, so I work with sales leaders, and really I work with a lot of executives. If you lead a sales team, I do coaching, training, I do keynotes. You can see on benward.com a lot of the stuff that I'm up to. I'm an author, co-authored a book called Sellership, which, and what that book, just high level, is going from selling to leading. And what ends up happening is most leaders, if you lead a sales team, most of the time it's because you were good at sales. And those are two totally different skill sets.
I totally agree with you. And you can flounder, because you may have been good in sales, but you're horrible at leading people.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes.
I could use you too.
So Sellership, actually I have a copy right here.
Perfect.
I'll give it to you.
Do you want to do an Asian Oprah giveaway with that book?
Sure.
All right. So there's your Asian Oprah giveaway for today. It's called Sellership by Ben Ward and Dr. Greg Reed, who is the founder of Secret Knock, which is why we're here. I didn't realize he was your co-author.
Yeah.
So the first person to go to drmarissa.life and put in sell or Salin or Salan
or Sellership
will get a free copy of the book.
We'll sign it right now for you as well.
Yeah,
both
perfect.
Dr. M and I will both sign it for you.
Sounds perfect.
And you know what? So
Brian.
Yeah, Brian Tracy wrote the foreword because 15 years ago I was in a mastermind with him, and he brought up this idea that being good at sales and being good at leadership are different things.
Totally different.
And I saw that then. I was like, that's true.
Yeah.
So I've spent the last 15 years taking those principles, and Brian was so gracious to write the most incredible foreword.
Sounds great.
But how do you successfully transition from selling to leading? And the secrets are right here.
You gotta get that book. If you're not the Asian Oprah giveaway winner at drmarissa.life, you can find the book
on Amazon. You can get it on Audible, Amazon.com, Sellership, or Ben Ward. You can get it on Audible, Kindle, or paperback.
Fantastic. So I always ask my guests, well, let's go to the personal side here.
Yeah.
Did you know when you were a kid that you would be doing what you're doing today?
I had no idea. All I know is I got in 6th grade. I had my backpack was full of candy that my parents helped me get at Costco. I paid for it, but they went and got it, and I would sell candy at school. And one day I'll never forget, I showed up after recess and my whole bag of candy was gone. my bag was there, but all the candy was gone. And like, so I sold, that's how I like made money to buy my lunch food as a 6th grader. And that was one of the most demoralizing things where I would sell candy and you weren't supposed to. So I would get in trouble, so I keep it quiet. But having that stolen from me was one of the most traumatizing things. But my point is in my blood since I was little. It's just, what can I do to earn a little bit of money? I grew up with nine brothers and sisters. There's actually 15 of us all together.
Oh my goodness.
Hers, ours.
Oh, wow.
And
well, that explains why you do what you do.
Yeah.
Your whole life has been a sales job.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. So the last question I ask my guests usually is, to who or what are you most grateful?
I'm the most grateful to my wife, who through 20 years, we've been married 17 years, and since I've known her, I've been in sales and leading sales teams. I've dragged her all over America, and she's been so supportive and has allowed me to fly and do what I love and fly, fail, crash and burn, and she's stuck with me. And today with our company, she's just my biggest cheerleader.
What's her name?
And her name's Sherry.
Aw, Sherry, peace in, peace out. Thank you for what you do. Aw, that's beautiful. Well, that was fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I end every show with this peace in, peace out. You ready?
Yep.
Peace in.
Peace in.
Peace out.
Peace out.
World peace through inner peace. Dr. Marissa reporting live here at Secret Knox with Ben Ward. Go get his book, Sellership. You'll learn how to turn selling into leading. Have the best day ever.
And wasn't that delightful and educational and illuminating? I was so glad to reframe my own understanding of what sales is and is not. I hope that also helped you, because let's face it, right now, whether you are going back to work where you used to, which is not the norm right now. There's record holding numbers of people not going back to what they used to do, back to the companies they used to. There's a record number of people going into business for themselves. There's a record number of people who are wondering what to do. And I got an interview with Jeffrey Hazlett that I'll be playing in tomorrow's show, who said, the reality is it's not an employer's market anymore. It is an employee's market. So as we're going out to find the next job, and hopefully it will be something that you love to do, because then it's really not a job, and job stands for just over broke, then you will understand the importance of understanding selling, because all of us have to sell ourselves to some extent or the other, especially if you're dating, especially if you're interviewing. So how do we sell ourselves that doesn't leave a bad taste in our mouth? Hopefully you've learned a lot from that interview. You can contact Ben at benward.com. And that's it for today's scintillating episode of Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. We'll see you back here at 8 a.m. in the morning for more hope and happiness here on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live from my living room during the pandemic, reminding you that it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Have the best day ever.